Sweden played neutral in both world wars and carried that policy into the Cold War. It built up its own defense industry, kept universal conscription, and warned the public to prepare for invasion, just in case. Behind the scenes, Sweden shared intelligence with NATO and planned secretly for a Soviet attack under a secret cooperative plan called Operation Cave. It was officially neutral on paper, but not naive. In 2024, Sweden finally dropped its neutrality and joined NATO. After World War II, Austria, like Germany, was occupied by both Western allies and the Soviets. Vienna, like Berlin, was divided among the four powers. It seemed destined to follow Germany's path, a nation split between East and West. But in 1955, the Soviets struck a deal. They agreed to withdraw on one condition. Austria had to commit to permanent neutrality. The deal held. Austria stayed out of NATO and out of the Warsaw Pact. But neutrality didn't mean isolation. Vienna became a hub for diplomacy, espionage, and discreet cooperation with the West. Today, Austria remains officially neutral, but as an EU member, its stance quietly leans west. Finland shared a border with the Soviet Union and paid the price. After repeated conflicts with the Soviets in World War II, it agreed to a friendship treaty with Moscow in 1948, promising military cooperation and avoiding alliances. This secured Finland's liberal democratic state right near the border with Leningrad. It stayed democratic, capitalist, and independent, but it had to self-censor, avoid criticizing the USSR, and walked a very careful line. This strategy became so well known, it even got a name: Finlandization. That caution ended after the Cold War. In 2023, Finland finally joined NATO shortly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Switzerland's neutrality wasn't just Cold War policy, it was tradition. No foreign bases, no alliances, and it didn't even join the UN until 2002. But while officially neutral, Switzerland wasn't isolated. It was a Cold War safe zone, where diplomats, dissidents, and spies all rubbed shoulders, usually over a coffee and banking secrets. To this day, Switzerland remains strictly neutral. Ireland stayed neutral in World War II and carried that stance into the Cold War. It didn't join NATO, avoided military blocs, and preferred peacekeeping missions under the UN flag. But Ireland was economically and culturally Western, especially aligned with the UK and the US. Despite this, while Ireland was neutral, the IRA received subversive weapons and explosives from the USSR via third parties like Libya. This was limited though, and the Soviets focused on other conflicts much more extensively. Today, Ireland is still officially neutral, though debates about European defence have started to reopen old questions. Yugoslavia was a communist state, but it didn't follow Moscow's orders. In 1948, Tito defied Stalin in a historic split that shook the communist world. Stalin expected obedience, and Tito gave him defiance. Stalin tried to pressure Yugoslavia through propaganda, economic isolation, and even assassination attempts. Soviet agents were caught on Yugoslav soil. Eventually, Tito had enough. He sent Stalin a blunt message: "Stop sending people to kill me. We've already captured 5, one with a bomb and another with a rifle. If you don't stop sending killers, I'll send one to Moscow and I won't have to send a second." With that, Yugoslavia charted its own path. It remained socialist, but not aligned. Tito founded the non-aligned movement, uniting countries that wanted to stay out of the Cold War rivalry. Yugoslavia took aid from both East and West, hosted American diplomats and Soviet officials, often at the same time, and used its unique position to maintain independence. But when Tito died in 1980, the center didn't hold. Ethnic tensions surged, nationalism returned, and by the 1990s, Yugoslavia collapsed into a brutal series of wars. Its neutrality and unity died with it. Malta started the Cold War with British and NATO military facilities, but in 1980 it signed a neutrality agreement with Italy and joined the non-aligned movement. The island repositioned itself as a peaceful bridge between Europe and North Africa. Its neutrality remains official, but Malta is now in the EU and increasingly pulled into wider European security discussions. Cyprus declared itself non-aligned after independence in 1960, but Cold War neutrality didn't protect it. In 1974, a Greek-backed coup triggered a Turkish invasion, splitting the island into two, a division that still exists today. The Republic of Cyprus remains officially non-aligned, but it leans west and is a member of the EU. Neutrality here was compromised by geography and geopolitics. Finally, tiny European states like Liechtenstein, Andorra, Monaco, San Marino, and the Vatican didn't pick sides because they didn't need to. With no standing armies, minimal foreign policy, and protection from larger neighbours, their neutrality was more practical than political. But there were exceptions. San Marino, tucked inside Italy, was ruled by a communist-led coalition from 1945 to 1957. making it the only Western European country with a communist government during the Cold War. It fell shortly after the Hungarian Revolution of 1956, yet remained officially neutral. The Vatican, meanwhile, remained spiritually neutral, but became increasingly outspoken against communism, especially under Pope John Paul II. These microstates didn't shape Cold War strategy, but they didn't entirely escape it either.